You're listening to Taking Care of Business with Marty Pay and Clay Kerner on Kern Radio Newstalk 1180.
I love Mannheim Steamroller. This is Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio Newstalk 1180. And I just wanted to say hello to Haley and Hayden, who saw their Papa Marty play Santa Claus the other night. It was real cute how confusing it was for them to see me in a Santa Claus suit. Okay, Clay, go ahead.
Pretty self-serving, aren't we, Marty?
Yeah, Go ahead. Okay.
Hey, Nancy, let's talk about something of importance. It appears you have a lot of partners here in Kern County and Bakersfield. How does someone become a partner in the program?
Well, primarily they can call us at our office. The number I just gave recently, 396-4430. We have a lot of fantastic business partners, companies as well as individuals that help us out throughout the year in our various events, not just the trade fair and the business plan competition, but they help us. They invite us to do things at their businesses, such as our annual report, which is coming up in May, and we'll go out to a business to present that, and the local students present it in front, again, of business partners.
Do you have a conference at the end of the year where different schools come and they pass out awards, business people show up?
Well, we don't have an actual conference here in Bakersfield. We do have an event where we invite our business partners to a local, just probably out at the Regional Occupational Center, and our local kids do present their annual report. We're working on a final event, and that could be in Claremont this coming year in May.
And how long have you been doing it here in Kern County?
Since 1998, the program started here in Kern County.
And you've always had someone in the national finals since 1998?
Well, the actual business plan competition national didn't start until 2005. But since 2005, yes, we've always had a school from Bakersfield.
Now, we just had the competition a couple weeks ago. And how did Bakersfield do in the competition?
Well, we had 8 teams in the final presentation, and there were 2 Bakersfield teams in that final presentation. And both of those teams, Centennial High School placed 3rd, and Stockdale High School placed 4th.
Wow, so they're going to go on to the regionals.
They will go to New York. They will go to New York in April.
Now, here they're going to meet with businessmen like myself, but in New York they're actually meeting with bankers, right?
Yes, they have to go through 2 preliminary rounds. Each team always goes through 2 preliminary rounds, and they're competing against schools from South Carolina, Tennessee, New York, and Virginia, and New Jersey. And so they all present twice to people that are in the financial realm in New York City. So these are really high-powered people they speak to.
And these are not just local. Excuse me. Excuse me. Wow. Didn't hit. No, I'm okay. These are not just Bakersfield, Kern County schools. I mean, I know the last 2 years I judged a school from Santa Monica. So how far down south do we go and how far north?
Well, we have schools in this particular competition all the way from San Diego all the way up to, right now, the Bay Area. But the program itself includes schools all the way from San Diego up through southern Oregon and over to Hawaii. Mm-hmm. And then from Santa Barbara area over to the Inland Empire area, Palm Springs and so forth.
I'd like to volunteer for the judging in Hawaii.
Well, if we had more schools in Hawaii, I think we'd all like to go to Hawaii to do that.
No, I think next year you're going to have to settle for Bakersfield, Clay, if you decide to get involved.
Well, it sounds like a great program. I've read about it before. I've been asked to judge and never really gave it the time. But, the more I learn about it, the more I think I might want to get involved next year or this year.
Good.
Well, that would be great because the more judges we get involved in this program, the more they can see how fantastic these kids are and how they really do adapt to the business world. And these really are our future entrepreneurs.
What are as far as the students that participate, are they from every grade level or is it just seniors or how does that work?
Well, mostly they are juniors and seniors. There might be a few sophomores in the mix, but it's really a junior-senior class because the kids are a little more on track to do things like this.
Now, when you were saying that in high school they're actually taking a class for this?
Yes.
Okay, so is it just a class?
Well, it is a class, and many high schools may not call it virtual business or virtual enterprise. They may call it small business management or entrepreneurship, but it's a program where they pay a simulation fee to become part of a member because we're a group of much larger network, mm-hmm. U.S. Networks of Virtual Enterprises International, with the headquarters in New York City.
You know, it's amazing because when I went to school in the 60s, early 70s.
When was that, Marty?
About 10 years after you. There was nothing for us as far as teaching you business. You went out there and you either learned cold or you learned maybe from a college class where somebody had some kind of business background.
Well, that's true. And this program really gives the kids a fantastic eye-opener. And if they don't do anything more than just learn how to write a correct business letter or do a resume or do interviews, all of them are going to have to do this at some point in their life. And they'll be able to get an idea of what this is all about. Plus, they earn a salary, and they must do personal financial literacy. Mm-hmm. So not only that, they're learning how to do online banking, how to budget their money, and then how to work as a team in a business.
Mm-hmm. We're talking with Nancy Phillips from Virtual Enterprise. Nancy, as far as the Virtual Enterprise, there's also, you mentioned the trade fair, and I didn't know much about the trade fair. What is that?
Well, it's a state trade fair. It's held in conjunction with the state business plan competition. And at that event, there were probably 2,000 kids here in Bakersfield on the 2nd and 3rd of December. And they can enter other events such as marketing plan, human resources, scenarios, catalog sales. They do a newsletter. They do a website development competition. And so these are kids differently that do this than the actual business plan competition. So they're doing these in consecutive.
How many students are involved on a team then?
Well, in the state business plan competition, 4 to 6. And the others can be 2, 3, and the whole school needs to send different students to each of these competitions because sometimes they happen simultaneously, and you can't have the same kids in all the competitions. So it really spreads it out.
Have any of these students or these companies that they've created, have they taken them past high school and actually gone into business at all?
I think probably some have, and actually there are some companies within the state that really do real money business, and that is in addition to their virtual side too.
Mm-hmm. Nancy, when you and I were discussing the show the other day, you were talking about the background to this, and I was surprised. This goes way back. I mean, you're talking about the 40s when this concept started?
Yes, the concept started in Europe and right after World War II, and they were called practice firms, and they still are called practice firms. And it was to train those men and women coming back from the war in business. Maybe they had lost their jobs or their companies were no longer there, is to get them trained again to go back into the world of business after World War II, and it's just continued. And it was brought to the United States by New York school system in 1996.
So they took a concept that was used for people probably in their 20s and maybe early 30s and dropped it down to the college and then ultimately the high school level.
Correct. In Europe or in Canada or in Australia, they're mainly post-secondary age students. But in the United States, they're mainly juniors, seniors, but we are moving up into community colleges now here in the United States.
You know, Nancy, we've asked a lot of questions, and as we're getting close to the end here, is there anything that you'd like to say to the people that are listening today regarding the program?
Well, I would love to have as many businessmen and women involved in this program as possible as judges or as mentors for these students, because one teacher sometimes just can't do it all. So if there are mentors, for example, in accounting or in human resources or in marketing, that would be of great help to our local 8 schools that have the virtual enterprise here.
You know, it was fascinating being on a panel because the way you've lined up the panels the last 2 years, the panel I was on a couple weeks ago, I was the marketing guy, there was an accountant there, and there was somebody else who had a different expertise. And just listening to our questions to the different groups, we had totally different questions. And it's amazing the answers. These kids were really, really sharp. They were good.
That's www.virtualenterprise.org.
And it's okay. We have a call. Okay, no call. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we had a call. Is there any talk of doing this internationally as far as a competition between countries?
That is on the possibility list, yes. They are looking at maybe a national, they already have the National Business Plan Competition. They have what they call a Global Network Challenge, which is not quite the business plan. That'll be in New York at the same time with students from Italy or England or Canada. But now they are looking at the possibility of an international business plan competition.
Okay, and you mentioned something about doing this at a junior college level?
Yes.
Because this would be extremely helpful for colleges, too. Because again, a lot of us left school and you kind of sit there and go, okay, what do I do now with this?
Well, I know that Cal State is one of our big supporters, and they do help us with our student training in September, and they are looking for the possibility of offering this class at some point on their campus.
Great. Nancy, thank you so much for being here with us. And again, I highly recommend this. I've been a judge the last 2 years, and it's been a lot of fun. It's very rewarding to give back, and this is a great way to do it. So.
Well, and I know the kids all appreciate everybody's help with this, because I know that one teacher can't do it alone.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. We'll be back in a minute with our state senator from the 18th District, the Honorable Gene Fuller, on Taking Care of Business. Kern Radio Newstalk 1180.